Hello again, YouTube viewers. It's Learn123. Today, let's talk about the Fabrique Nationale FN Baby Browning. This weapon was designed by John Browning and his associate Dieudonné Sèvres in 1927, and it was produced from 1931 to present day. This weapon fires the .25 caliber ACP pistol cartridge. It's a centerfire cartridge, and its European designation is 6.35 millimeter. Today I'm going to show you how to field strip this weapon. Now, as you can see, this is not in top condition. I'd say it has 50% of the original bluing, if that. It's got this dent in the trigger guard, and I had to fix it up even to get it functioning, but it does function. I had to buy grips, trigger transfer bar. So let's talk about some of the features on this weapon. This weapon has two safeties. It has a magazine safety. Speaking of safety, why don't we unload it first? Oh, look at that, it was loaded. These are aftermarket triple K mags. I didn't have an original magazine, so I can't speak to the reliability. These triple Ks work pretty well though. This gun likes to be swimming in oil, so make sure you oil it fairly liberally, and you should have decent reliability for enough rounds to get you out of any kind of a situation, in a carry situation. So the magazine safety, you can see that silver bar right here. There's a bar that goes all the way up in here, and it actually will block the firing pin from being released, and it will not allow the firing pin to be cocked. That's a cocking indicator, but it won't allow that to be cocked if there's not a magazine in the weapon. And here is another safety, and it's also very efficient. It doubles as the slide lock. It can lock the slide right here. Now, takedown and disassembly is fairly simple with this weapon. All we have to do is rotate the barrel while the slide is locked back, and then we allow the slide to come forward. Careful, don't lose our parts here. And the way the barrel comes out is after you have the slide removed from the frame. You can simply rotate that out of there. The barrel's retained with these lugs and these lugs here. Pretty solid little weapon. This particular weapon was manufactured in 1956 or 53, if I recall correctly. It's accurate enough for something with a 2-inch barrel. I see I still have it swimming in oil, so this thing's ready to go. It's ready to be used. Very simple design. Here's the cocking indicator assembly, the firing pin spring, and here's the firing pin. It can be gotten out just kind of sliding it out of there. I'm not sure how loose you really want that in there. There are some sharp edges on inside, so be careful not to cut yourself or anything. This is an aftermarket. I obtained this from Gun Parts Corporation, Numrich. And so that goes in there. It only fits one way into this channel here. You see that lug fits into this channel. And so reassembly is a cinch too. Here's our steel guide rod and main recoil spring. Now, I'll tell you something about this weapon is it's loud and it kicks like a mule for something so small. It weighs just a little bit over a ½ pound fully loaded. All we do to reassemble at this point is return the barrel into the slide, but we have to have it in that rotated condition. You can see there's a channel in there. It only fits one way. It won't fit here, it won't fit there. So you got to rotate that here. Going to make sure our guide rod goes into this channel. So one way to do it is you can kind of rock it back. Make sure that the cocking indicator assembly is in that hole in the back. And then we just lock the slide again with the barrel in that rotated position with that lug pointing up and to the right if the gun is facing you. So when everything's in its proper place, it'll come back, and then you can just lock the slide in the rear position, rotate the barrel back, she's ready to go. So now I will show you some of the other features of this weapon. Now that our magazine's empty, or sure our chamber is empty, I can show you how this thing operates. Now that the magazine's in it, it will allow the weapon to cock. But you have to pull it pretty far back. And so now we see that cocking indicator is sticking out. And it's ready to fire. Light squeeze to the trigger will release that firing pin. And the weapon fires. Pretty reliable weapon for what it is. Now they made these in coin finishes with gold triggers. Some of the ones made during World War II, because the Fabrique Nationale factories were seized by the Nazis. Only 100 were made, roughly, and they were only issued to spies. And so if you have one of these with Waffen SS markings on it, they could be worth quite a bit of money. And when I say quite a bit, I mean you could literally sell that gun for $50,000 to $100,000. Now, if you're on a budget and you want to acquire one of these, I believe Brico makes a clone of it, since they have some of the manufacturing licenses for that. But I could have the company wrong. It might not be Brico. Either way, neat little piece of history. These were used by the French Resistance as well. And these are aftermarket grips, but it is an original screw and screw escutcheon here. And I really like it. A lot of people call it a summer gun, but the 25 ACP actually is comparable to the 22 long rifle. And if you know anything about firearms statistics in this country, you know that you're most likely to be shot by a 22, and anyone who's ever been shot by a 22 can tell you that they deal damage. And so with something comparable to the 22, I mean, this is a really great magic trick of a gun. It'll actually fit in very small places, so very concealable, very cool, old world craftsmanship, very simple design. It has, I think, less than 20 total parts, or just barely over 20. And again, it's just over a ½ pound fully loaded, so decent weapon. I'm happy to have come across it, happy to have restored it, and happy to share some information about this weapon with you. Click that button in the bottom right of your screen and subscribe if you haven't yet. I try to come out with new videos every Friday, and I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Thanks, guys. This is Learn123 signing out.